Hey there, PAPper people. We are doing a review of the iBreeze. It's a CPAP/APAP machine. If you see it online, it often says 20A. Thumbs up, subscribe, smack like, all that garbage, blah, 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 YouTube algorithm. All right, thank you to the folks at ResVent who sent me this unit to do a review. Now in a minute, I'll get to all the stuff that requires this to be plugged in, but for now, let's just take a close-up look of this thing. Right here, we have the SD card that it comes with. Some of you may have already seen a video I did on that. I'll discuss that briefly. We have the filter port right here, pretty much a fine filter. On the other side, we have the humidification. Has a nice little ledge here that you can use to get your hand under. It makes it kind of nice so you can pinch in right there. This is one of the things I'm not like a big fan of this, but to open the humidifier chamber, you're just gonna pull back here. It's not real obvious because it's all the same color. And then you have on this side, those little eyelets that you have to use to attach. That's really hard. If it was a hinge that stayed attached, that'd be a lot better. It's also really hard to dump the water in here because there's a lip all the way around. So you have to turn it upside down and basically shake the absolute bejesus out of it to get all the water out. So to put it back on, like I said, you gotta hook this on. You gotta be careful. A lot of people miss this. You gotta hook it on and then relatch right there. Now it does have a sensor in here. It's actually inside the machine. You can see it in there. It detects whether there's water in here or not. So if you have no water in here, there's no way for you to toggle and get into the humidification settings. If you do have water in there, it will allow it. So just be aware of that. Now on the top, I show you this in just a little bit, but right here you have the ramp button and then you have this knob here. When you have it on, when this is plugged in, you have an info setting. When the info button is highlighted, you're gonna push in on the humidifier and you're gonna push in on this knob. In doing those together, you're going to get into the clinician's menu, otherwise known as the doctor menu. Let's real quick get in the too long didn't read of this video. Did I like it or did I not like it? Honestly, it's probably not for me. My own personal use. I don't think I would use it. And I'll tell you exactly why in just a second. Here's some really good things with it. One is it's cheap. So in today's day of CPAPs costing 900 bucks, over 1,000 bucks, it's actually pretty inexpensive. So for 575 bucks, you get a machine that blows air. And let's just be honest, all of these CPAP devices just basically blow air. Let's not overcomplicate that. And this one does have APAP, automatically titrating CPAP. If you are someone that watches a lot of my videos, you know that long-term, even kind of semi-short-term, I'm not a fan of the APAP feature. It does much more harm than good, but diagnostically, it does have some advantages. So for that, I'm gonna call that a good thing. Some of the bad things about this, number one, I'm gonna show you this right now. This thing is freaking loud. It is hella loud. Now my wife ultimately ignores me most of the time at night when she sees I'm testing CPAP equipment, or just when I go to bed and I pop my CPAP on. She doesn't really say anything at all. She doesn't care. She actually kind of likes it. She's like, oh cool, you didn't snore last night. You must have been wearing your CPAP. Yes, honey, in fact I was. I'm glad you noticed. With this thing, she got super pissed right away and she had to put her earplugs in every single time. One time I even said, hey hun, I'm gonna put on that new CPAP machine that I've been trying. She goes, oh no, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll get to sleep before. Next morning, she was angry with me.
That machine is crazy loud.
Because even though I warned her, she didn't put her earplugs in. This thing is loud. Typically with the other machine I use, the AirSense 10, I'll put it on the bedside right next to me. I can barely hear it. This thing, I had it on the bedside next to me. It was way too loud. I put it on the ground. It was still way too loud. So I tucked it up underneath the bed and it was still loud. This thing is loud. Did I say it's loud? This is my sound check setup. We're gonna be comparing sound between the iBreeze CPAP/APAP. I have this in CPAP mode. I have it set to 10, and I have the IPR, which is the pressure relief. I have it set to off. I'm gonna be putting both machines in the exact same spot. I'm gonna have the left edge lined up with a little nick I have here on my nightstand. My iPhone with the decimal meter is here sitting in the corner. All right, settings on the machine, exact same tubing. Here we go. Let's be very, very quiet. By the way, I'm capping them in the same way because we don't have to take mask sound into account. Here we go. I think we can safely call that an average of 50 decibels. Let's set up the other machine. We're gonna use the exact same tube to make that equal. We'll drop books, good. AirSense 10, we're gonna line it up with that same little nick right there. Same tubing, same pressure. We'll make double sure it's on 10. Yes, it is. Are we ready? So I was looking at the right-hand side here for both of them. The average for the AirSense 10 was 43, 44. So we're looking at 6 to 7 decibels less than the iBreeze, which equates to about 10% less. Let's talk about another thing that's kind of a positive, kind of a negative. It comes with its own free software called iMatrix. Now, I showed you that SD card in there. You can pop that SD card in your machine and you can import it into iMatrix. iMatrix will allow you to look at every single breath you took for every second of the night. It's really cool. It also shows you leak data, and it shows you trending leak data of where the leaks occurred and when they didn't occur. Here's the bad part of that. It is nowhere near as user-friendly as Oscar. Oscar's amazing. In Oscar, I can take every single table of pressure, of leak, of mask pressure, of vent flags, all of that stuff. I can arrange them in whatever order I want so that when I drag and drop or zoom in on certain areas, every single one of those windows will zoom in at the exact same rate so I can still line up everything. Oh, did that happen here? And how did that relate to the leak value? And what am I seeing here? Not so with iMatrix. Now, I did share some of this information with some of the developers of Oscar. They are working on trying to make it compatible. So if you want an affordable machine, you might be able to use it with Oscar in the future, but as of right now, you are not able to use it with Oscar. All right, let's talk about some more bad stuff with this, and you're actually gonna see this in just a minute because I already recorded it. This thing's pressure delivery is funky. It is weird. So I saw a couple other videos because I was like, is this just me? Am I the only one experiencing this? When you breathe, and I'm not talking about on APAP, I'm talking about on CPAP with the pressure relief turned off. The IPR is off. There should be no alterations in pressure. When I'm breathing normally with it, like when I'm relaxing in bed, trying to sleep, it'll do these like wonky blast of pressure and then really let off. Blast of pressure, really let off. I saw another video where people were like, oh, it's learning me and I'm learning it. We're learning together. We're changing our breathing together. We're in symbiotic relationship. I don't think so. This thing is funky. There's something off with it as far as how it detects pressure and how it responds to your breathing. It was weird. The first night, that's what I thought, and it was on APAP. I was like, oh, that's kind of funky. It seems to be responding very strange. Let me use it on CPAP for the next few nights. And it still did it. And then just when I was testing it earlier, it did it again. It's funky. There's something funky with this. Now I'm gonna be trying this off screen. I want you to listen to the sound, watch the weird lung things. This is on 10 centimeters of water. Just listen to the sound of it. So do you hear how variable that is? I'm not doing anything to alter my breathing and it's cutting out and like ramping up really hard. It should be pretty continuous. It's just off. I don't get it. So with that, I don't know what it's responding to. Now I tried to look at some of this with iMatrix. iMatrix, like I said, it is not user-friendly. I could not figure out for the life of me what the algorithm was trying to do when I did have it on APAP mode. So I got nothing for you there. Now I did contact my contact at ResVent, and I said, hey, is there a way that you guys would share information with the Oscar team so that it would be available on Oscar? Hey, you might sell more machines with it. And they said, you're right, it is not available with Oscar at this time. I think they knew what I was asking. They just didn't want to share the information. They have their own platform, so they're probably trying to keep it a secret to some degree. Now I'm about to go through all the settings with you here in just a second, but there is one setting I wasn't able to figure out. So you have all the comfort settings, that's pretty much what I go through. In the actual settings menu, there is a setting called P-Step. P-Step has two different settings. It is 0.1 centimeters of water or 0.5 centimeters of water. I, for the life of me, have no idea what this is. I sent this in as a question to the company and I got no response. So they use P in every other thing as pressure. So we know pressure and step. To me, I believe, and I could be wrong, if the algorithm is triggered where it says you're having obstructive apneas, obstructive hypopneas or whatever, that's the step at which the pressure will ramp up. It is by 0.1 or 0.5. So to me, I think that the 0.5 is going to be a more aggressive algorithm and the 0.1 is going to be a less aggressive algorithm. So if you like the pressure ramping up quick, that's probably for you. If you like the pressure not ramping up so quick, maybe try 0.1. I think that's what it's for. I have no confirmation of this. I really don't know. Thank you for watching this far. Here is my final thoughts. It is a fairly cheap machine. If you want to look at your data as of now, you cannot do that. It has some funky breathing response, even when you're on CPAP with no pressure relief turned on. The footprint seems to be about the same as the AirSense 10 or the AirSense 11. It's not huge, it's not small, it's fine. It's super loud. So you have to balance all that. So it's super cheap, but there's no Oscar compatibility yet. Even if there is Oscar compatibility, it is still loud. And to me, that funky breathing pattern was just, I don't know what that's all about. It wasn't learning, it was doing it every single night. So for me, I think I would probably pass on it, but at the same time, it is half the price of every other machine right now. And I almost feel bad saying it, but that's just the way I see it right now. If anyone else has a positive response, so I can see that I've only been using the iBreeze for about 3 weeks to this point. My experience, 3 weeks long, not a really long time, but to me, long enough to form an opinion. If you have used the iBreeze and you have an opinion on it, I would love it if you would put something in the comment section down below. Is it quiet? Is it super loud? Have you heard or felt that funky breathing pattern that I'm talking about where it lets up and then slams you and lets up? And it feels like it's messing with your breathing all the time on just normal breaths when you're completely relaxed. Have you experienced that, or do I have a funky, faulty machine? For those of you that do not have the iBreeze, is the price point worth it even without Oscar compatibility? If Oscar compatibility does come in the future, is that something that would sway you into possibly trying this out? Super curious what you guys think. I'm gonna stick with my AirSense 10 for now. It's quiet, it's reliable, all the data is perfectly accessible to me. I'm very happy with it. To keep this video short and digestible, I'm going to do a review or a run through of the settings menu of the iBreeze in my next video. I appreciate you watching this video. Have a great night. Bye. Why does your mask smell like my feet? Pick up some Mask Bright today. Thank you to all watching, but an extra thick thanks, buddy, to Doug Toombs, Jason Georgiades, Matthew Lilly, Mona Swearingen, Chung Chu Chen, Patricia Espelong, Ray Troutman, Sarvesh Joshi, and Stuart Hetherington, as well as a big thank you to all my other Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Little tiny thanks, buddy, for you guys.